Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my brand new nose piercing, and I just got it pierced today, June 29th, 2015, so I could do an update in a few weeks just to make sure everything went okay and no problems. So I'm going to be talking about how to convince your parents, advice, and aftercare tips, and my whole experience. So let's just get started. So I'm going to start off by talking about how I convinced my mom to let me get my nose piercing done. Basically, all I did was ask her a million times and have her say no to me. So finally, I asked one more time if I could get my nose pierced, and she said no. And then I said, well, what if I pay for it myself? Then she said yes. It was the magic question. So, you could try that out. Just mention that, hey, I'm going to pay for it myself with my own money. Maybe your parents will say yes. If they don't, it might take some more convincing, so you just gotta try hard and show them that it's not a bad piercing. It's okay to have one. Okay, so now I'm going to get into my experience of my piercing. So he brought me back into his room, and that's where I found out that I couldn't have a choice in what color I wanted or what gauge, because he doesn't carry any gauge except 18 and this clear little diamond stud. So, the choice was pretty much made up for me. This is basically what I wanted anyway. I wanted a tiny little diamond, and that's a tiny little diamond. It is surgical steel, and it didn't hurt at all. What he did first was he sat me down, told me to make sure that I kept breathing. That's a huge part of it. You need to make sure you keep breathing, because if you hold your breath, you could pass out. Not from pain, just because you're not breathing and you're not getting oxygen, and then you traumatize your body, and your body doesn't know what else to do except just shut down. But what happened to me was he sanitized the outside and the inside of my nose. I'm not sure, it was almost kind of like iodine, but it wasn't. It smelled really earthy. It smelled really good. Then he took his daughter tool, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye in the air, drawing triangles, because that's how they formulate where your piercing should go. And at this point, you should tell them if at some point in the future you want to be able to change it to having a hoop. You need to tell him, because he or she will place it lower than a normal, just if you're going to wear a stud all the time. So I told him that. So he placed it a little lower than the crease of my nose. And the next thing that happened was he asked me if I was ready. And he went over again. You need to take deep breaths, just keep breathing, and don't freak out. I guess he had a couple people grab his arms while he was piercing them, which isn't a good thing. So he told me not to do that, and I was like, no problem. I did have my mom there with me. She didn't want to watch it get it done, but she offered to hold my hand. So, of course, I was like, yeah, I'll hold your hand, because I was terrified of, what was going to happen, how bad it was going to feel, because some of my friends say that it hurt like none other, really terrible. Some people say they barely even felt it. So I didn't know what I was going to be, because I have my cartilage done and just my earlobes, so I didn't know how bad the pain was going to be for me. So he stuck this metal tube up my nose that catches the needle when he pierces it, so it doesn't go through the center of your nose. So he stuck that in. He told me to take a deep breath, and on the exhale he pierced my nose. I didn't bleed. I didn't have a tear. Most people do get tears because your nose is so close to your tear ducts that when you pierce it, it just automatically makes your eyes water. I didn't have any of that. I barely felt it. My mom was holding my hand. I didn't even bear down on her hand. She was ready for me to rip it right off. The pain for me from a 1 to 10 was probably 2. And I am being 100% serious. It was not bad at all for me. But I think I have a high pain tolerance for piercings. I take it like a champ. So it wasn't that bad. Next comes the aftercare for your piercing, and my piercer went over that with me really quickly because it wasn't a lot to say. He handed me this pamphlet, and inside it just goes over the piercing, what you should expect, what you might want to look for that's abnormal, so that you come back in and say, hey, you know, I have a bump, or my swelling isn't going down, anything. And it's really pretty much self-explanatory. He recommended me to get H2 Ocean, which is just a sea salt piercing aftercare spray. And I cleaned it twice today. He said that I could only clean it as much to get off the crusties that will form around your piercing on the inside and the outside. So I cleaned it twice today just to make sure that it was clean. I didn't really have any crusties or blood or anything on the outside or inside of my piercing, so it wasn't bad. All I do is I spray that on a cotton swab and then just go around my piercing and go around the inside. And he did tell me that do not turn your piercing while you're doing that. Just basically leave it where it is and just go around it and go around the inside. Pretty self-explanatory. I did it twice. It didn't hurt at all. My nose is still a little red, as you can probably tell, but he said that's normal and it's not swollen. It feels fine. It does ache just a little bit, but that's to be expected. It doesn't hurt when I talk. It doesn't hurt when I yawn. It doesn't hurt when I sneeze. It's pretty much fine. I'm used to it. I got used to it within 10 minutes. Like when I look down, I can't even tell there's anything there. So I really am glad that I got my nose pierced. And my final piece of advice is to research. Make sure that you do want this piercing, because even if you take it out, it will leave a scar. Hopefully that it's a minimal scar, but it will leave one. What I did for research was I watched a ton of YouTube videos, just watching people getting their nose pierced, talking about their piercings, talking about pain, what to do if you get the dreaded piercing bump, and I mean, it prepared me for everything, and that's a great thing to do. Just watch tons of other people getting a needle jabbed through their nose, and it'll calm you down. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I think that if you are watching my video, you probably want to go get your nose pierced or are thinking about it. You should do it. If you want to do it and you want to commit to having this in your nose, do it. It's not a bad thing, and I think it looks really cute. And even if you look at me straight on, it's barely noticeable. Right now it's more noticeable because it's red, but maybe I'll post a nose piercing update in 2 or 3 weeks and tell you how it's coming along. And then he did also mention, my piercer also mentioned that I can't change it for 6 to 8 weeks, so I'll be able to change it August 29th, 2015, which is just after my birthday. So I'll be changing it then, and I'll probably change it to a hoop, just to see how that looks. But I will be calling and asking about downsizing, because this is an 18 gauge stud, and I probably want to downsize to a 20 gauge, just so that my piercing hole isn't too big. I know a lot of people do that. So thank you for watching my video. I hope this helped you out, and I hope that if you're going to go get your nose pierced, it goes as smooth as mine did. Click the like button down below, comment, let me know if you're going to go get your nose pierced, where you're going to get it pierced, what color you want to get the gem or the hoop or anything. I love hearing about other people's stories. And subscribe. Maybe I'll post more videos about my nose piercing, or you never know, I like to post beauty videos too. So thank you for watching my video. Bye!